oh, oh, oh. Ah, ah, ah. Hey, hey, hey. Ah, ah, ah. Oh, oh, oh. Ah, ah, ah. Hey, hey, hey. Ah, ah, ah. Our ancestors came from India in 1838. They came to British Guyana with Jahajis and shipmates. They crossed the Kalapani on the Hesperus with B. Bahut Aja and the Aji, Bahut Nana and Nani. Yes, I'm a Indo-Caribbean man from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, the culture and education. I'm a Indo-Caribbean man from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, hey, the culture and the education, yes. Came down to this land, Indian indentured servants, living a 79 years back, clutching on to the lotus, crying for Mother India, with tears in the eyes and a prayer in the heart. Salam Bharat Mata, yes, I'm a Indo-Caribbean man, from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, the culture and the education. I'm a Indo-Caribbean man, from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, hey, and all them little children, yes. Well, Canaan and Ram were the first immigrants to land. Canaan, them are Ram became a Burnishan. They lived in little lodges and worked hard in the background. From nothing they built a nation. I am proud to be an Indian, yes. I'm a Indo-Caribbean man from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, the culture and the education. I'm a Indo-Caribbean man from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, hey, and the Indo-Caribbean woman, yes. Incorporated the cultures from Africa and India, Hindu, Muslims and Christians, to build a better Guyana. Everyone celebrate Idul Adha, we all fly kites for Easter. Mana, water, a beer and powder, everybody playing backward, yes. I'm a Indo-Caribbean man from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, the culture and the education. I'm a Indo-Caribbean man from my Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, hey, and all them little children, yes. Well, Sonny Gadraj, my grandfather, he was a true Indian. He taught bhajans and Hindi classes to all the little children. Sitting down on his spear, he was a bottom house teacher, teaching cultural education from generation to generation, yes. I'm a Indo-Caribbean man from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, the culture and education. I'm a Indo-Caribbean man from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, hey, and the Indo-Caribbean woman. Oh, oh, oh. Ah, 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 hey, hey, hey. Ah, ah, oh, oh, oh. Ah, 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 hey, hey, hey. Ah, ah, oh, oh, yeah. Ah, ah, ah. Oh, oh, oh. Ah, ah, ah. Yeah. Ah, ah, ah. My ancestors came from India in 1838. They came to British Guyana with jahajis or shipmates. They crossed the Kalapani on the Hesperus with me. Bahut Aja and me Aji, Bahut Nana and Nani. Yes, I'm a Indo-Caribbean man from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, my culture and education. I'm a Indo-Caribbean man from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, hey, me culture, me education, yes. 240,000 came down to this land. Indian indentured servants within a 79 years span, clutching on to the lotus, crying for Mother India, with tears in the eyes and a prayer in the heart. Salam Bharat Mata, yes, I'm a Indo-Caribbean man from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, me culture, me education. I'm a Indo-Caribbean man from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, hey, and all them little children, yes. Well, Khan and Anand Ram were the first immigrants to land. Khan in Demarara, Ram became a Burmese. They lived in little lodges and worked hard in the Baghdad. From nothing they built a nation. I am proud to be an Indian, yes, I'm a Indo-Caribbean man from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, me culture, me education. I'm a Indo-Caribbean man from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, hey, and the Indo-Caribbean woman, yes. Incorporated the cultures from Africa and India, Hindu, Muslims and Christians, to build a better Guyana. Everyone celebrate Idul Adha, we all fly kites for Easter. Mud and water, a beer and powder, everybody playing part one, yes. I'm a Indo-Caribbean man from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, me culture, me education. I'm a Indo-Caribbean man from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, hey, and all them little children, yes. Well, Sonny Gadraj, my grandfather, he was a true Indian. He taught bhajans and Hindi classes to all the little children.
Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics. Happy Indian Arrival Day to all of Trinidad and Tobago, especially those who are proud of the ancestry and those who came before under harsh conditions, worked hard, created family structure, culture, religion, music, and then created performances and human beings who built Trinidad and Tobago along with the other brothers and sisters, all Trinbagonian. Happy Indian Arrival Day to each and every one of you out there on behalf of the team here at douglAR Politics. And of course, happy birthday also to our young lady who, I like people who brighter than me by far. I could just sit down and listen to them and listen to the wisdom no matter the age, and they're just brilliant and they're working hard. Amira, happy belated birthday, young lady. Proud of you. Keep getting smarter because we need all you to run the country eventually if we could save it from the evil that it's in now. Archie, I'm proud of my people. It may take long because we're fighting against a lot of forces to get the truth out there. But the truth of the matter is, quite simply, that in the two options for Prime Minister, Keith Christopher Rowley, the present Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister in waiting, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, when it comes to labor, love of the worker, care and respect for the worker, listening to the worker, and doing her endeavor best to ensure that she presents opportunity for a living wage, it is Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Politics is a very important thing. Politics must be based on policy, heart, soul, character of the leader. And to see my Trinbagonians, my people, showing Keith Christopher Lekoto Evil Rowley that they will not accept the Dwen's nonsense. They will not accept the disrespect. They will not accept the anti-labor position put forward by Rowley's PNM. It warmed my heart. But understand this and be clear. As there was no race on the streets on Friday, there was no race, no class, no gender, no religion. They were just citizens of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago who are saying enough is enough. You have recused yourselves. You have conflicted yourselves. You have given yourselves money and enriched the cabinet. And when it is time for those who plow and work hard to build this country, to get just a little bit to stay on par with food price inflation, removal of gas subsidy, the people have said enough. And they came out in their thousands. No race, no Indian, no African, because politics has no race. It's about policy. And the policy of Rowley against labor is to thwart labor, to call labor dotish, to disrespect labor, to shut down the labor unions, to shut down Petrotrin, to attack labor and decimate it. And the policy of Kamla Prasad Bisesa is to listen, to hear, to listen to the financial people, the economists, to listen to labor, and to lead with heart, love, and care for those families to put food on the table. The decision is clear, and it was shown on the streets of Port of Spain yesterday. Show it, Archie. Keep in mind, people, every time Trinidad and Tobago has taken great strides forward, it's when the African people and the Indian people came together. Uriah Buzz Butler and Adrian Kola Rienzi. In 1922 also, the African National Congress and the East Indian National Association got together, united, and forced the colonials to give us legislative council and active politics. The NAR of 1986, the partnership, the unity of the races keeps the PNM, the evil dark PNM away. So on the streets, I saw no race. And when it comes to vote, I see no race. Right now, Keith Christopher Rowley is a minority government. He has lost the 2 Tobago seats. So he stands at 20 seats to 19 and 2 for PDP. He's a minority government. I saw at least 7,000 to 9,000 citizens on the streets protesting the PNM and protesting Rowley. Let me tell you, Rowley is out of government with 823 votes in St. Joseph. That's all. 823 votes, and Rowley is not prime minister. Other seats can fall, but St. Joseph, you are the key. 823 votes, that's all it takes to remove the Lekoto Jambi, the dishonest pathological liar, the man who has wrecked Trinidad and Tobago. He has turned Latrinity into La Latrine. That's what Rowley has done, and he must not be allowed to do that to our country. 823 votes, that's all it will take in St. Joseph to remove Rowley. Now, of course, we want to remove him and the PNM from everywhere. So all across every other seat after that, or you could wipe him out so that there could be constitutional reform. But that's what he's holding on to, a thread to thwart labor, to tell you 0001001. That's what he talks down to you with arrogance. 823 votes in St. Joseph. That alone will remove him. It is time for him to go. And let me show you why. Imagine the PNM. They play the race card, the banana card, to talk all sorts of nonsense about Kamla Prasad Bisesa, a woman who was brought up by Baptists, a woman who has no racist bone in her body, a woman who Pentecostal, Christian across the board, Hindu, she worships with everyone. In the cabinet, she made sure that every board had diversity with race, religion, and ethnicity and gender. That's how she ruled. Rowley doesn't care. Rowley show you our board. 11 people, 11 African, 1 woman. Say yes, die all you. He puts 1 person on 10 board, 1 person on 8 board, 1 friend on 9 board. Spend your money. Puts his own personal lawyer. That's Rowley, and then tells you, the people, there is no money for you. There is no money for labor. Kamla says the money belongs to you. The gas subsidy is for you. The money is for you, the people, your children education, your laptops, your tablets. That's what Kamla says. So forget race. It's not a football game. You are on the streets protesting because Kamla is not the prime minister. And in case you didn't know, a woman who come from Norway because PNM win. They find she, nobody here knows she, where she come from. We can't even hear she. But as soon as she reach, she needs to get a HDC house. There are over 160,000 people waiting for HDC house. But them come and take credit for themselves, just like the 210 recusals. And then they come in the parliament and they say Kamla is a wicked, irresponsible prime minister because she gave Labour their just deserts. She gave Labour their just due. You think it's joke I'm making? They attack Kamla and the UNC for giving people a living wage. I cannot make this up. Run it, Archie, let them listen.
He was in power and offered public servants and other public sector officers salary increases between 8 and 14% based on a temporary spike in the price of oil, which left a burden on this country that we are still seeking to meet. and took salaries from $4 billion when they came into office to $10 billion. This government cannot take that irresponsible approach.
On Friday,
irresponsible. They cannot take that. Kamala is irresponsible because she leaves the gas subsidy for all of you, so that food price inflation will stay down, medicine will stay down, gas price, transportation price would stay low. She increases your wages so that you could buy food and pay your rent and your mortgage. That's what the PNM calls irresponsible. But them have 210 recusal of cabinet minister renting and outfitting their own building, cabinet ministers renting the other building, cabinet ministers' wives getting contract left, right and center, cabinet ministers' brothers getting $4 billion, cabinet ministers all over enriching themselves. That's a responsible PNM. But Kamala is irresponsible for giving you people a proper wage, nurses, doctors, police, OWTU, energy sector, public servants across the board, port workers, daily paid workers, corporation workers. That's Kamala. And Rowley and the PNM said she's irresponsible. Or just stop the nonsense. Stop it. And you let in the media, Guardian media, that make 89%, answer McCall, 89% increase in profits during a pandemic. They have an editorial that say labor. Y'all are disgusting. Y'all are asking for too much. Who does the Guardian Media Limited support? Keith Rowley, who they put on the morning brew? JW, PNM, sweeping, cocktail, what his name? JW, me him know one song, Palance can't sing. Though him are too old level to rub together. But he's a balize. So they put that on you to make you feel, don't vote Indian. Who cares about who is Indian and who is African? We talking money, food on the table. Kamala means money for you. Rowley means money for he. As we talk that, actually, last show, I saw a post on Facebook put up by Philip Edward Alexander. And it hit me hard because it's Rowley and Small Pin, these two clowns who went without procurement, without any request from the Coast Guard. They went to purchase ferries and then end up buying 2 cutlass vessels without an audit, without specs, without experts, and then come to tell me it was under grant funding and we can't even see general grant. And I saw that these 2 brand new vessels that Wade Mark say, Rowley and Small Pin, those 2 bastions of integrity, oh my goodness, oh Lord. And when you look at Gandhi and Martin Luther King and Mother Teresa, you see Rowley and Small Pin, yes, like their own flipping dreams. The 2 pathological liars from Emailgate. One brought the lie and the next one defend the lie. And them is like 2 thick as thieves. They're close together. Anywhere Rowley go, it like he Evo stick Small Pin to K-Pax. I heard and I read that the 2 vessels were down. Brand new, spanking new. 300 million extra Wade Mark told y'all. Remember? Archie, remind them what I was asking. Philip Alexander put up a post. I asking Guardian and Express, TV6, CNC3, Newsday. I am asking these people if this is true. Because when I saw this, I spit out my coffee and choke on my doubles. Philip Edward Alexander. Mr. Alexander, someone sent him this and he posted on Facebook. Mr. Alexander, the 2 newly acquired Coast Guard vessels have been grounded since March. The TT Coast Guard 41 has a damaged prop which is costing 13 million TT dollars to repair. And the TT Coast Guard 42 has overheating generators costing an undisclosed amount. The Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard Commanding Officer, Captain Don Polo, has threatened both crews of renewal of contracts and immediate discharge to those whose forms, what? I can't see, sorry, forgive me. The media. or who informs the media, the camera blocking it, they're trying to discreetly send this, all right, the vessel to Curacao to complete the repairs. Lieutenant Commander Francine Cazo has already threatened those in procurement. I am asking to the Coast Guard, to the Chief of Defense Staff, is this true? Well, the Member of Parliament for Naparima, the Honorable Rodney Charles, in the Parliament yesterday, he asked the question. Thank you, Rodney Charles. Let's see the answer, Archie.
To the Minister of National Security, will the Minister inform this House on the status of 2 Coast Guard vessels, TTCG-41 and TTCG-42, given recent reports that they both suffered serious damage and are to be sent for urgent repair works overseas?
The Minister of National Security.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it has been brought to my attention that one of the aforementioned vessels is now is in need of some attention, and it is for that reason not immediately in service.
You're stuttering, you're stammering, it's not immediately in service, so it is absolutely true. Propeller brake on the brand new vessel. I thought them 2 vessels. I thought, Heinz, you just said 5 days ago in a media report that you all are making great headway because these vessels, the 2 Cape class purchased by Rowley and that small pin clong sitting down next to you, that they were operational. You said, you lied and said you're making headway in gun trafficking and drug interdiction, and the vessel not even flipping working. And on top of that, the second one, he said, well, the other one kind of working. Yes, because it's generators. So the other one could kind of work for a little while, and then it overheat, and the generators would shut down. So you see how they dishonest, and that whoever that officer, that whistleblower is, you keep safe. Don't talk too much, because them PNM, when you're a whistleblower, they just come at you. And that is what Rowley and Small Pin procure with all your money. 2 piece of nonsense. So Rowley, you came out when you commissioned it and you walk past Small Pin and Al Rawi and them, and you walk past Fitzgerald Hines, and you went to cut ribbon for them 2 Cape class that you went and buy without any procurement, without any request from the Coast Guard, and they had to outfit it and change it after you spend the money, Rowley, because who better to spend our money than you, eh? Landgate, Las Alturas, Greenvale, Delsey Gate, Email Gate, HDC Gate, and many other gate, all kind of pum-pum gate too. Child Gate, inside child, outside child gate, and yes, Rowley, that's what you purchased for us, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And you said that the borders are now safe. Illegal immigration is no more. But prop break. And the next one, overheating. Buying scrap iron, old battery buying. As we talk that. Archie boy, I see Wassa digging up by the savannah, boy. They fixing a leak. Well done, Wassa. Where the minister, man? They fixing this leak, maybe because this leak close to by the palace where Rowley had to bathe and brush his stink mouth. Well, they only have about 4,600 more to go, Wassa. Because about 2 months ago, it was 3,160. And we just seen leak after leak after leak increasing. But as we talk, Wassa, Archie, I heard Transparency International, this some fella called Dion Abdul, he had been this fella here. Last show, he just come out to talk about a SABGA report. And I said, but me ain't hear nothing from Transparency International. Me ain't hear nothing from them on the OAS since April. OAS $1 billion. We ain't hear about the lack of procurement. I didn't hear from Transparency International when the procurement legislation was gutted by Rowley. I didn't hear nothing from them when the whistleblowers, Dr. Alam and Balkisoon, Mr. Balkisoon, were fired from NGC board and 233 million lost and flushed down the drain, and the next 240 million on some compressor thing that then we didn't need the compressor. I didn't hear Transparency Institute. I didn't hear Transparency International when Rowley misbehaved in public office to remove and thwart a merit list, collapse a whole police service commission, and force 2 other public officers to misbehave in public office, including the President of the Republic and the former chairperson of the Police Service Commission. I didn't hear Transparency International, but then I started to scratch my head. I said, what is the only thing could make people not speak the truth? What is the only powerful concept and cloud that prevents intelligent people from just speaking the truth? Transparency is transparency. Corporate governance is corporate governance. Value for money is value for money. You understand? Just talk the truth. But what is the one thing that stops bright, intelligent people from talking the truth? Because the President of the Republic is very intelligent, brilliant national scholar. So why she didn't talk the truth when Rowley come to thwart the merit list? Blissy Prasad is a brilliant, intelligent woman. Why she didn't talk the truth when Rowley makes she withdraw the merit list? Many people are very intelligent. Why Sophia Choate, the Law Association president, why she now coming to talk about COVID-19 Commission of Inquiry when Kamala and Tim Gopi Singh and them talking about that? What's it about them independent senators who very bright and who love children? And when a Judy Jones report inside since December 13, 2021, they don't say nothing, all of a sudden their love and passion for children disappears. What is that cloud, that dark, evil cloud that could turn even people who naturally love children into people who can't tell the truth? And I hear the people saying, Balize, Balize, Balize. Only Balize can turn intelligent, brilliant people into blithering, lying idiots. So I had to look for the Balize in Mr. Abdul. I had to look for it where it could touch him, where it could diffuse into his pores somewhere, because it was inexplicable that Transparency Institute had nothing much to say. They had PIP, but then Archie, Vishnu, look what they reminded me of. I didn't see it. I didn't know. Archie, show them Mr. Abdul and where he is, and see where the Balize is. See how close the Balize is. Run it, Archie.
Yes, sir, Mr. Corporate Secretary. I'm speaking about the original contract. I know it was renegotiated between 2012 and then re-signed on 2014. What was the end date of that original contract signed on January 19, 2010, please?
This is the supplemental of January 2010. Was for a period of 25 years with the commencement of the delivery of 60 million gallons of water. MIGD, 60 MIGD, 25 years there.
Thank you, sir. And was this a take-or-pay contract signed on January 19, 2010?
Here, show you the original contract with December, which we call the Modesty Agreement, signed on the 5th of August, 1999. This original contract had the take-or-pay provisions in it. The subsequent agreements, which was the supplemental in 2010 and the amended agreement in 2012, would carry on with that provision for the take-or-pay.
Thank you, sir. And the original contract in 1999 and then amended 2002 was for 24 million gallons per day, and was the 2010 January 19 contract for 60 million gallons per day.
The contract was structured along this basis. One, the production of 40 MIGD within 3 months of signing the agreement, that is April 2010, and thereafter 60 MIGD within a period of December, obtaining its finances and so on, those things being put in order.
Thank you, sir. Through you, Chairman. And then when this was arbitrated and negotiated in 2014 and signed, what did the amount, was it reduced from that maximum 60 million gallons per day down to 40 million gallons per day, please?
Volume of water contracted for in the amended water sale agreement of November 2012 was for 40 MIGD.
Is 40 MIGD less than 60 MIGD, please, sir, through the chairman?
It is our number, please, sir.
So, and that contract stated we increased to 40 million within 3 months, which would have put it to April or May 2010, and then a further increase to 60 MIGD per day. Is that not correct?
Over a period of 2 years, yes.
Thank you. And then it was negotiated through WASA and DISALCOT to settle on 40 MIGD and to remove that maximum of 60 MIGD.
Yes, it was.
Mr. Abdul, Corporate Secretary at WASA, trying to defend the PNM. He could not. He had to come. I asked you direct because he had to go all the way back to 1999 to say take up pace that day and all kind of thing. And then when I say it's 60 and if 60, he had to say, well, it was for the first thing, and then 3 months later it go up to 60. And I say, but what is Corporate Secretary shimmy the mean for when all you have to do is talk the truth, be transparent? Archie, Mr. Dian Abdul is the PNM Corporate Secretary at WASA and put up the picture. He is the head of Transparency International. I know. Where the other one? Where the board member, the blue picture, man? Transparency picture. Oh, well, no, well, wait. She's a board member too, Archie. Miss Fern Narcissus Scope. Wait, but I know but wait, you is not the niece of a former PNM sitting minister and a nasty human being who wrote the most racist letter to the editor, printed in the Express, that I had to analyze. That is not your uncle, that former PNM minister under Rowley. You are not the... Wait, you in charge of the EBC? Oh gosh, let me talk to you. And you on Transparency International? Is Transparency International transparent? Do you think that do you love your uncle? Were you the best schoolmate of Minister Bundles at St. Augustine Girls High School? That brilliant high school where many scholars come out? Were you very good friends with the now PNM Minister of Education, Minister Bundles, who is very close to both Foster Cummings and Rowley? In fact, they fight over bundles and bundles of joy, bringing bundles and bundles of fight. Isn't that your good bestie? Do you think that it's a conflict of interest for someone so close and so affiliated with the PNM to be in charge of the independent EBC? Didn't you take instructions from Rowley and the PNM to divide Tobago into 15 seats? And one of those seats survived a tsunami of discontent? Are you, Fernand? Were you in Guyana during the debacle of an election with Andrew Gabriel? Were you there? And now you are on the board of transparency. Look, transparent. Look, I don't know what to tell all you. Look, Mr. Wassa, Mr. PNM Wassa, sit down there with the PNM shepherd who suspended now and the PNM Nanga and trying to deflect and not answering questions. I was wondering, but what happened to you? And they're just asking simple questions, answer the truth. All we want is the truth. Look who is the head of Transparency International, who is on the board. And then all you want to talk about Kamala and why the perception is there that Kamala can't win, and Kamala, you did so good, but the perception is that you're corrupt because these people had anything and everything to say on nothing, this sort of people. And you know who he replaced? Derek Murray, great wicketkeeper, but really a terrible human being, because he's dishonest about his political affiliation and went on a so-called independent. Well, we know it's not independent now. They're en masse. But Derek Murray, as soon as Rowley and the PNM win, big work on the PNM State Board, Sport Company. Now he in Jamaica, High Commissioner, living it up large, eh, Derek Murray? Shame on you, boy. I lost every ounce of respect that I had for you, sir. No joke. Because me and Kev are PNM. But you cannot lie. And you cannot go on independent institutions like this and pretend to make statements when you in your heart and soul is validate juice sucking, because you play with the minds of people. And people will know analysts at UNC. So even though I give you facts and figures and so on, I have to be clear. I am a staunch, proud UNC soldier. But when people present like independent senators who really PNM, like Helen Drayton and others for them who sitting down there right now, when they present and they're stamped with a label of independence or independent media or the Guardian of Democracy or the Express or TV6 News or CNC3, we give you unbiased, impartial news, and they flipping PNM all down in the jockey shorts. This is what happens. And if y'all are not perturbed, put off, and you go back 10 years of Transparency International and to the bigger body of Transparency International, look what your Trinidad and Tobago body has become. Transparency, PNM International, Balize International, talk only when Balize talk. So he had nothing to say. When we sit down in the most corrupt government under Keith Christopher Rowley, he had nothing to say on Foster. He had nothing to say land in Couva. He had nothing to say with Pical, Rivulet. He had nothing to say with 4.4 million in a Foster account. He had nothing to say about 1.8 million in Foster account. He had nothing to say with 210 recusals. He had nothing to say with Johnny Sukaran, that man who changed his name when he rent out your own building and outfit it. He had nothing to say when Rowley is a businessman, a sheep farm owner, and a prime minister who's suffering the food security and lifting the price of meat while he earning profit. He had nothing to say when Rowley did not fill out his Form B, Integrity in Public Life Act form, and then his Form A had more questions than answers. Nothing to say. And now I learn, I didn't even know. No joke. It's only when he jump out, we start to investigate. And Alan Karim, Chief Vishnu, they say, but Anil, look Dion Abdul. And then when I look deeper, I see Fern Narcissus. And that's the woman in charge of our elections. And you all find that is correct. This PNM affiliated relative and niece of a former PNM minister who sits on the PNM Transparency International now, who have nothing to say. She who was in Guyana when the other side was trying to thief election and change records and change vote and hide and come, she was there with Andrew Gabriel. This is the best friend of Minister Bundles. I wonder if she talked to Bundles and said, Bundles, how you could be doing that in the cabinet, your cousin Couture? How you could be giving pum-pum so and then pum-pum so and pum-pum bouncing pum-pum? Why you didn't tell your friend all of that? You didn't tell your friend? And that's what you all talk about, and then you all come to tell me elections are free and fair and free from fair. That is why they must get a catastrophe like in Tobago. Because people like this, who are put there for a specific purpose, cannot succeed when we unmask them and we unite. So who cares if you like a lady, or you don't like a bald head, or you don't like a douglAR, or you don't like Johnny, or you find Susan not bright enough? There is room for everyone, and evil must be removed. And to Transparency Institute, if you have any respectability left internationally, you will put your Trinidad and Tobago version on sanctions, because it had to be mad. All you don't care about all your name. Why all you don't just set up office in the new Balize house that going up 6 stories, 3 underneath plus 6, 9, $120 million? Why all you don't put your office there, Transparency, into whatever, in PNM? Go there and set up office. You didn't ask them how they're billing. Where PNM get the money from? How much barbecue they had? How much raffle? How they got 120 million? Where all that steel come from? Where all them bowls come from? Where all that material come from? Where all that gravel? Where all of that? And they're not only fixing that big one, they're fixing the old Ratatang one with new steel too. No work in the country, wasting people money, no corporate governance, no procurement, but Balize house rising, and Transparency International asks a question. But them come to talk about a Sabga report UNC done in 1997 because Rowley says so. So all you see Rowley Transparency Institute. Why you don't ask Rowley what happened in 69 with the girl at school age? And all they want transparency? Move China. Cabo Star. We didn't hear transparency on this either. Look, Mr. Cabo Star. This clown who, without reading a piece of paper over the phone in Tobago, after lying to the people at Tobago and say it went through the normal cabinet process, he approved what he described as crooked money. You know where the crooked money reached? $215 million of crooked money that he approved with prime ministerial approval over the phone without reading a piece of paper. And look at the old thing he gave Tobago. That's why Tobago spit him out 14-1. And you know what? For this whole weekend, this old scrap iron going down for emergency work. All the vessel involved with he need fixing, and it's all your money. Government wants CCJ to replace Privy Council, but Senator Mark says not yet. Well said, Senator Mark. Now, a motion was brought by independent Senator Vera, and he made quite a few points. But Senator Vera, I want you to listen to Anil very carefully, because in your passionate appeal for the CCJ, and I am a patriot, and some of your emotional twangings, I was getting twanged too, because I believe that we are the greatest and we have the best and brightest and so on. But I also know that we have PNM and Balize, and we have people whose integrity is get rubbed wrong, like, you know, as Balize Jews touch them, they get distracted, they change, and they turn kind of hypocritical. Well, one of the points you made, Independent Senator Vera, was that there are no conflicts of interest, because the regional JLSC, Judicial and Legal Services Commission, they select judges. That's great. However, I want you to take every word of your presentation and apply it to yourself. See, hear me out now. Because you were brilliant. I like the positions you were making. You said that's regional, so there's no influence. But your appointment, is there any influence? Isn't it close? Huh? Are you on any boards close with that government over there, getting a stipend? Are you close to any of the attorneys general that came before on the PNM side? Are you close to any judges right here that WhatsApp you and bad talk UNC, you see? So your argument is, for the CCJ, that there's no conflict of interest. But then I ask you, how come you can apply that standard for the CCJ, but not when you look in the mirror? Then you also said funding is independent. No government controls the purse strings. Is the funding of your salary independent? Is your appointment independent, let's say, of the president? And the president who was influenced by the prime minister to thwart a police service commission, and the police service commission collapsed. And the president, it is clear now from the witness statement of the prime minister that it was him. He was a public official who went to the president and caused the president to allow the then chairperson, Bliss Prasad, to withdraw a merit list that was duly signed off on and legitimate and legal, breaching section 123(4) of the Constitution. You said all of us UNC are rabble rousers, market vendors, creating all sorts of things. Why? When the truth shows that you should have been independent and all of you should have voted, except Ms. Prasad's sister, because conflict of interest, because you're very clear on what a conflict of interest is. I can't adjudicate on a matter about my beloved brother or sister or father. I love them. So as impartial as I may try to be, there is still the perception that I'm conflicted. So how can you be so precise in your Hansard with the CCJ about conflict, but you can't look in the mirror and see the very same or worse conflict when it applies to you? You quoted from a learned Justice Simmons of Barbados. But what you didn't tell the population, that same Justice Simmons took money from FIFA to do what is known as the Simmons Report on Jack Austin Warner, who was a government minister of the People's Partnership. And that Simmons Report breached every law of natural justice known to man. It did not even allow Jack Warner the opportunity to be heard. It came up, I found, and I'm not senior counsel, I found 19 breaches of the laws of natural justice, conflict of interest, improper conclusions. That was Justice Simmons. You came in our Senate to quote Justice Simmons. Justice Simmons, by the Simmons Report on FIFA, CONCACAF, tarnished his own name. But you weren't aware of that, or if you were aware of that, you put that aside. Jack Warner then went with senior counsel and got 21 points against that Simmons Report. That alone, by you quoting Simmons, you have made a case for we staying in the Privy Council. You then also said they've never had in our jurisdiction a case that was politically motivated. Really? Or that showed political bias in the judiciary? After you get WhatsApps from 2 judges, yes, tell us who it is yet, to bad talk the UNC and say the UNC is rabble rousers and Senator Jayanti Lakshmi Dayal is a disgrace? That alone shows why you are arguing against yourself. The fact that 2 Court of Appeal justices on your account, nobody tell you say it unanswered. But on top of that, you said that there is no conflict whatsoever and everybody could be impartial. It's very interesting. But let me ask you this. In 2015, during the election, the EBC, then under Robert Masson, who in 2010 in W. O'Meara put people to vote in one box that took an average of 4 hours and 15 minutes in a stronghold in Carapo across the highway in W. O'Meara to ensure and to assist Karen Nunes Teixeira in winning an election against the douglAR, but I still beat she. But I stayed right there. And I begged people to go back and vote. I stayed the requisite amount of feet away outside. Rain, shine, and so on. But you, in 2015, sir, you say you have no case that could be considered politically biased. The Court of Appeal ruled that the UNC had a case, that the EBC notified the PNM that they were going to extend voting for 1 hour because of rain and did not notify the UNC. They agreed that the EBC overstepped its bounds and was wrong. However, the court said, well, we can't say that that really had an impact on the election. You don't think that decision was could sort of be sent to be painted with a political brush? What about the EBC in Tobago when the lady challenged and another lady came in to take over because one judge was going and then Bacchanal breakout? You didn't remember that? And there are hundreds of cases. So don't come and tell us. Now the judiciary is the one place that I believe in, that we could get a fair shake. I believe so. But I don't believe that they are like God Almighty 100%. Maybe 75-25. But still enough that that institution is one that we must protect with all our passion. Because when you go there, you can argue your case and get an impartial judgment in the preponderance of time, of occasions. But is it 100% insulated from political influence? No, just like the independent senators are not. And then you said that it is a relic of colonial times. Well, so is the independent bench. So based on your argument, all 9 independent senators resign because they are only there to give the governor, the ruler, the head a little voice. So you all are relics from a colonial time too. So based on your argument, sir, I expect your resignation first and the other 8. Let we in the UNC battle it out there with the PNM. Even if we leave it 6-15, we still beat them because they're so dunce. So I think I'm dealt with that. So maybe he will look in the mirror and use his, I want you to read your whole Hansard to yourself in the mirror. Okay, Senator Vera, do your boy that favor. Tobago to get an anti-corruption investigation unit. Yes, Tobago. But I want to call on Tobago. Let me to call on former Tobago ACP William Nurse. Right, you're going to Tobago for an anti-corruption unit. Let me ask you a favor now. It has some case and thing down here that you could do for we, you know. Don't feel because you in Tobago, you can't investigate Trinidad, and Trinidad does investigate Tobago. So I'm asking you, ACP William Nurse, come down here and check out, see if it is fostering some relationship. Now come and investigate Venture Credit Union. Come and investigate some shenanigans now down here for me, all right? Because after 20 years of the PNM in Tobago, they know when PDP reach them now sending anti-corruption police. You didn't know that all the time? When $25 billion just disappear like a dose of salt. Editorial. Toil and trouble for Mr. Hines, Ethelbert Hines. What? Let me see. An editorial from the Newsday. Judy Raymond attacking Sleepy Hair, Sativa. While Fitzgerald Hines was Minister of Youth Development and National Service, he got into hot water for making remarks on social media about a beggar. Well, they quoted the thing, but they didn't really quote. He said he didn't see the beggar in him. The Laventille West MP was even by that stage a veteran of the political gaffe. But it was the nature of his portfolio, ostensibly involving inspiring youth, that made his unsympathetic, presumptuous, and tone-deaf remarks harder to swallow. Okay. After the Prime Minister made Mr. Hines Minister of National Security, so you were perturbed at his ridiculous gaffe as a Minister of Youth, and Rowley, your Prime Minister, Judy Raymond, because Judy Raymond, what Rowley does give she, Kamala could never physiologically do it. All right? So Judy Raymond, he promoted this Sleepy Sativa man up to national security, and you all find that's good. Okay. After the Prime Minister made Mr. Hines Minister of National Security last April, some hoped the gravity of the role would result in a changed approach to communication from him. Who hoped? Who would hope that this could ever improve? This disgusting, racist, dunce clown who could not even know that he didn't take SCAE, took common entrance and failed. This dodo head could ever change? This lagoon rat? Are you really serious? Mr. Hines has not changed. So Newsday, you're agreeing with the douglAR, but Judy Raymond, me ain't getting you what Rowley getting you, so don't try to agree with the flipping douglAR. Leave the douglAR like nice, good looking thing, yeah. But But anyway, Mr. Hines has not changed. In Parliament on Monday, the minister repeatedly referred to a minority report submitted by, among others, Chaguanas East MP Vandana Mohit as almost naked and skimpy. These remarks relating to a female MP were bad enough, says the Newsday. But add the fact that Ms. Mohit, who made history as the youngest mayor of Chaguanas, is one of thousands of women in this country who have been subjected to efforts to embarrass her through leaked photos or otherwise. The remarks were deeply inappropriate. Hiding behind a fig leaf of unsubtle innuendo, Mr. Hines repeated his offensive jibes no less than 5 times. In the process, the Laventille West MP has demonstrated a total disconnect between himself and the mood of the country right now, when there is a deep anguish over the fate of women being victimized and killed, it seems, on a daily basis. Let's just double check those statements from Sleepyhead here, Archie. Run it.
The opposition disagrees with property tax being implemented at this time. Full stop. There are no provisions for equity in population, geographic size, and allocation of resources to each municipality. Full stop. The bill reduces the protection of workers against by recognized majority unions. Full stop. Insufficient consultation with stakeholders. That's all naked and untrue. And you hear who the members were, Madam Speaker? Khadija Amin, Anil Roberts, and the member for Chaguanas East. Skimpy.
Madam Speaker, I rise on standing order 48.6. This member continues to be very insulting in his terminologies against me. And I will not stand here to continue to tolerate that.
So, member,
My lady,
you know, I just will ask you to be careful with comments that might be considered unparliamentary.
That's him. But let me talk to him as he sleep there. Hey, wake up, boy. Wake up. Hey, wake up, boy. Yes. All the years I know you. I mean it, I say this long time, you know. I know you since about 1987 or so. How come I never see you with a girl? You don't even take your wife out to dinner and so on. But that's one thing, you know what all leaders do? You know how some all leaders just put them there, right? To pretend. How come I never see you with a girl? You'd like to say, Anil like girl, all right? Yes, I must say. Get that from a father. Tobago stock. But you, how come I never see you? Mr. Sweet Boy, Rasta man, eh? Answer me that next time you see me now. Just because I find you're just attacking woman. And you know what kind of man does attack woman, so you know, Mama, it's Mama Pool, there's our next M2. We ain't gonna say that on douglAR Politics. I have some young ones listen. I go tell you when I see you. Yes, with your special branch or not, you just be sleeping, gun just be firing off inside bulletproof van and thing. So me ain't for you that. You understand? I go tell you when I see you, you big clown. But let me go back to the Newsday now. So Newsday, let me read this again, you know, Archie. Heading Newsday. In the process, the Laventille West MP has demonstrated a total disconnect between himself and the mood of the country right now, when there is a deep anguish over the fate of women being victimized and killed, it seems, on a daily basis. Well, Newsday, I'm glad that you all have awoken from your slumber like the sleeping bear of a president that we have. But Newsday, you all didn't hear this same minister in the parliament a few weeks ago say this? Archie played for Newsday.
some women like the one I told you about who took the blandishments and the house. There are some women, unfortunately, not women, some victims, because I have some male ones too. Again, I could highlight examples, but I wouldn't, it's not necessary. But there are some victims who choose, like the example I gave you, to profit from their victimhood. But where does that leave the state? It's like two criminals making a deal over cocaine. They can't leave it alone. a gun deal. You can't leave it alone because it has implications for the rest of us.
Newsday, you didn't hear that? That women who were victims of rape were using their victimhood to profit by colluding with their rapists to get blandishments, to get money. The skimpy thing was bad, yes, terrible. I'm glad you wrote that. But I think that that pales in comparison to a minister of national security telling women who have been abused in the most vile, disgusting, painful, torturous manner that they use their victimhood to profit. I didn't see no editorial news there. And he's still the minister of national security. Selected by who? Selected by whom? Selected by King Misogynist, King Sicko himself, run it, Archie.
And they want to know why we have not diversified the economy. Just drink your rum and get on my face. I choose my word very carefully. You could behave as an effective opposition leader. I think the country is better for that. But geometry is not really the way to deal with these things. Kamala Prasad, Bisesa, and the UNC go and put that bill where the monkey put the nuts. You see these boots I'm wearing? We, the farmers of Tobago and Texas, we call them shit kickers, right? And I'm hoping that I'll meet Dr. Munilal today, but I haven't met him so far. Take it in your pooch. And I go, of course, like a woman. You got a groomer every day. Or a pooch east. Want to talk about party elites and meet him outside on the pavement. Bring him, bring her, with licks in your waist, licks in your face, and licks all over your petty place. And then that, you call on the Prime Minister to do something about crime. I'm not in your bedroom, I'm not in your choice of men. That is tantamount to hugging up a porcupine to go to bed. Because I will tell you, like she loved you, like she loved no other man. Well, I will tell you all something. Every month I get my salary. I work very hard for it. I am in no position to take $1. I want every cent I work for and I want it on time. The last time I was put out of anywhere for anything, the person who put me out regretted it. Sucking from the nipple of the Prime Minister, figuratively. Figuratively. To rape us with an umbrella, and worse, to open the umbrella. And she could jump high, she could jump low. She could drink this, she could drink that. She could back me down because I know she can. And you will see government ministers who came into office looking like Miss Howard Chat.
Prime Minister, I'd like to take the conversation to a more social realm, the social climate. You look on social media.
It's Christmas time, we should have some drinks then.
Well, perhaps of the non-alcoholic flavor.
Well, that is not drink. And if I have to go to jail as a result of not responding to you in 14 days, come, I'm ready to go. I'm coming to the conclusion that it's all about respect. All about respect.
Yes, Newsday. So you talk about this, but this was put by that. Where's the editorial? Where's your position? Because you have none. Because your Balize petticoat shows every single day. So don't come and pretend and feign that you are upset with the misogynistic, disrespectful, disgusting statements of this sleepy clown when the Prime Minister is the worst. And you, Newsday, and your editorial staff support that nonsense. But they become en masse. Labour knows that Rowley must go. Women know that Rowley must go. Indian people know that Rowley must go. African people know that Rowley must go. Syrian and Chinese people know that Rowley must go. Hindu know Rowley must go. Muslim know Rowley must go. Rastafari know Rowley must go. Orisha and Shouta Baptist know Rowley must go. Catholic know, Pentecostal know Rowley must go. The whole country knows that Rowley must go. Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana sign a MOU, chance for economic gains. A time to grow, says the Newsday Business. You see, time to grow, trying to pretend that the most incompetent human being as Prime Minister is of some value. Here, Gopi Schoon. Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago MOU can help fix food security issues. Really, Paula Gopi Schoon? You now know that 7 years later? You didn't know that when Narcissus Scope and Andrew Gabriel was sent over there and Lovell Francis was boasting about the dunce UNC loss in Guyana? You didn't know that? You didn't know when Rowley blanked Guyana 6 months in advance for an energy conference? When Rowley attacks Guyana in the most vile manner? You didn't know that food security would be an issue and Guyana could help us solve some of the problems? But it couldn't help us solve the problem of having an incompetent PNM government. You didn't know that, Paula Gopi Schoon? When Rowley was getting on in Parliament, did you tell him he behaved like an idiot and was making your job harder, Trade and Industry Minister? Let's see what he said about Guyana, since you all love Guyana now. Run it.
If you oppose him strongly, Mr. Speaker, he becomes a raging bull. He becomes a raging bull.
Prime Minister, in terms of measurability, Mia Motley left Guyana with 10,000 jobs. Would it not have been better to go to Guyana than to go to Qatar?
What do you have in Guyana? Why don't go to Guyana if you want to be in Guyana? As a member of Parliament in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, you're always talking about Guyana and Barbados. If you're unhappy here, you're free to go. Nobody has tied you here. Don't come and talk to me about Mia Motley. I am the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and I speak for Trinidad and Tobago, and I look after Trinidad and Tobago's interests. And if you have interests in and Madam Speaker, what is offensive about this? This is the member who disgraced us in New York.
Prime Minister.
You are the only member of any government.
Prime Minister.
The only member of any government that met with...
Order! Speaker is on her left. What do you think of this?
Yeah, he's not chairing Balizé House General Council meeting.
Prime Minister.
And blue hair lady, why you didn't tell him look at me and apologize? Why you didn't tell him, oh, you tell him look at you at a different time, and yet your husband and he still friend and neighbor, and well, this real good boy, it is real share. It have different type of ring. They say it a pedophile ring. It has swinger ring too. It's ring around a rosy by the PNM. And you ain't tell him look at me and apologize. Who look at me, put down your papers and apologize and all that. You want Saddam look at you late at night, so leave Saddam on this side, eh? And when Rowley, Gopi Schoon, and all of those Newsday and Express and Guardian that saying, oh my goodness, Rowley went to Guyana. When Rowley was doing this, what you all said, run it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to indicate to you that the vaccination program in Trinidad and Tobago is as good as and probably better than most, certainly in the CARICOM and worldwide. Of the 14 CARICOM countries, the only country in CARICOM that has received into its borders more vaccines than Trinidad and Tobago is Guyana. And the reason for that is that Guyana took a decision which we did not take. I've raised that at this platform before, but I'll raise it again. The Guyana government took a decision that Trinidad and Tobago did not take, and that is, early in the proceedings, to use vaccines that were not approved by the World Health Organization. And of course, if you see Barbados, which has a fairly high level of vaccination, 100,000 of those units in Barbados were units which Barbados received and accepted before they were WHO approved. So outside of that, if you remove that from the scene, you would see that Barbados would be in league with the rest of the CARICOM. And of course, Dominica was the same situation. I want you to pay that diagram I showed you a while ago. You would have noticed that Haiti is a member of CARICOM. Haiti is the most populous CARICOM country. Has 11 million people. They have not vaccinated one person there yet.
That's your Prime Minister who stayed away and disrespected Guyana while Guyana, the whole world was rushing to Guyana. And now he's going to try and get cassava and bygone in Guyana. You could give your bygone right in the cabinet, share your bygone by, right? All of them seem to like it. They like to take your bygone and get a walk, right? All of them want to be Minister of Agriculture. But here the Bacchanal now. Rowley come and bust out the story. Preferred bidder for the refinery. U.S. company Quanten is preferred bidder for Petrotrin refinery. Curtis Williams in the Business Guardian, all right? But there's one little thing. Because you know the douglAR have to read every little thing. Because every little thing she does is magic. The police. A sister company, Quantum Consortium of Aruba. Aruba. Remember? The Paria shipment was consigned. Wilmer Ruperti was supposed to go St. Eustatius. Then Rowley and them said, no, it's Aruba. Aruba said, not we. And then it realized it ended up in Venezuela, Palo Alto. Well, a sister company, Quantum Consortium of Aruba LLC, is currently engaged in the refurbishment, upgrade, and operations of the Aruba refinery. Let me just remind all you of Rowley, Wilmer Ruperti, Conga Line with Maduro, Delcy Rodriguez, Kamala bust the files when she come down and land on a sanctioned jet. Run it and remind them what we said, and look out, here comes Rowley. On February 27th, a shipment of 321,000 barrels of gas left Augusta, Italy for destination Pointe-à-Pierre, Trinidad, February 27th. The consignee was to Shell. They got the requisite, Shell got the requisite European Union stamp and very serious cargo, all the legitimate documents. It was a cargo for Shell. Midway through the Atlantic on its way to Trinidad and Tobago, Pointe-à-Pierre, the cargo miraculously transformed from being a cargo for Shell to a cargo for Trafigura Pte. Limited. Trafigura Pte. Limited is a company that is closely related and a close long bond with Wilmer Ruperti, the Venezuelan business tycoon who has helped Chavez since 2001 to break sanctions, to bring gas, to bring shipments, to help Chavistas. Ruperti, you all have heard that name. So the cargo now coming to Trinidad, based on these documents given to Paria Limited, was not Shell, it's now Trafigura. So the ship arrived in Trinidad and Tobago's waters on the 16th of March. It's hung around outside there before docking on the 21st of March. On the 21st of March, the gas, 321,000 barrels, belonging to Wilmer Ruperti and his company Trafigura, was offloaded into our storage here at Paria. The borders were closed on the 22nd. Delcy Rodriguez, Astrobal Chavez, and them came on the 26th. On the 27th, Paria said they started negotiation with EOS Trading out of Switzerland. EOS Trading, the director is the son of Wilmer Ruperti, baby Ruperti. You know, I don't even want to laugh because it's so sad. So EOS Trading, the son, came to Paria to buy daddy fuel. 200,000 plus barrels were then loaded onto a ship called the Aldan. Paria said the original port of call was St. Eustatius.
After the ship left, Paria said by this document, they got information that it was not going to St. Eustatius, that they heard that it might be going to Venezuela. Paria also said in this that they did their due diligence, yet they did not know that Ruperti and Ruperti Venezuela. They thought Ruperti was a baseball player from Dominican Republic.
And just to let you all know, keep your eye on the prize, because Rowley is really pathological and dangerous. It's not funny. I'm glad that most of you all are opening your eyes now as they tell you the economy is booming and returning, but you all have to get 0.00010001. Watch this carefully, run it, Archie.
Here are some facts. August 5th, 2017, President Trump issues an executive order which prohibits U.S. persons from engaging in transactions with the Maduro government and also authorizes financial sanctions and visa restrictions on non-U.S. persons that assist or support the Maduro government.
And its recent actions culminating in yesterday's outrageous seizure of absolute power through the sham election of the National Constituent Assembly represent a very serious blow to democracy in our hemisphere. Maduro is not just a bad leader, he is now a dictator.
March 26, 2020. The U.S. State Department charges Nicolas Maduro with narco-trafficking.
Below, they think they spotted a cocaine laboratory, one of many fueling Venezuela's role as a cocaine courier, which a CNN investigation has learned is booming just as the country collapses. 240 tons went from Colombia to Venezuela in 2018, up a third in 1 year, a US official told us, which could fetch $40 billion on US streets.
That traffic happening down below, one possible reason is alleged why so many in the Venezuelan army and government are reluctant to give up on Nicolas Maduro. They're simply making too much money.
March 27th, the Venezuelan Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, who is banned from traveling to the US, Canada, and the European Union, was granted permission to enter Trinidad and Tobago after our borders were closed.
The meeting that I had with the Vice President of Venezuela had absolutely nothing to do with the Maduro United States criminal development. Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, it did not come up.
March 28th, PS Euro Shipping SA contacted Paria to negotiate for the sale of fuel which was shipped to Aruba and alleged in the international press to be delivered to Venezuela. The principal of PS Euro Shipping SA is Wilma Ruperti.
Wilmer Ruperti is one of the richest men in Venezuela. He's a member of Venezuela's new economic elite, known as the Boligarchs. They are supporters of Chavez's Bolivarian revolution, who have seen their wealth multiply. In order to get the scope of the wealth that someone like Mr. Ruperti has, one must go on a helicopter around Caracas. The son of an Italian immigrant, Ruperti went from shipmaster to oil tycoon in 8 years.
The information I have on Ruperti is not good. I don't think he is honest.
So keep in mind and remember the 700 million that was found US and then Coleman but and them say they didn't want it. Keep in mind, Rowley sending small pin who hugging up the LCD all up in USA, begging them to ease sanctions and so on. Why? Why? Ask yourself. And while you're asking yourself, why? Remember that Franklin Kahn, when I questioned him in the Senate, it was not only that 148,000 barrels that Paria bought. from Wilmer Ruperti and sold to ES Euro Shipping in the month of April 2020. On Hansard, Franklin Kahn said it was 1.2 million barrels in that month alone. Then think about 4 divers in a pipe down underground that was not utilized for anything for years, but they were refurbishing it. Why? Think very carefully. And while you're thinking, this is the kind of people, the Dwayne is your Minister of Finance, comes to tell you everything is booming, he's ready to go, and then tells you 001. But Curtis Williams put, imagine the Minister of Finance has the temerity to suggest that he was providing an impetus to business by repaying them with their own money, which he effectively borrowed and which is never registered on the books as government debt. This Imbert went in the media review and said, yes, we're going to pay back VAT 1.7 billion, and boasting that he is giving a fillip to business in Trinidad and Tobago, paying back people money that he owed them for years. What the Minister of Finance did not do was to account to the people of Trinidad and Tobago on the performance of the economy outside of the windfall, and for which he has no control and can take no credit. But yet here comes Keith Christopher Rowley now. This Dwayne says, money, money, money. We got money. We're not going to spend it on any gas subsidy for y'all. The government is going to spend it on productive expenditures and so on. But y'all vote for that. So y'all are not productive. Your gas subsidy is not productive. Keeping food prices down is not productive. Keeping medicine down is not productive. But listen to Keith Rowley as he was speaking in a meeting in Arima that he coming to tell all you vote for he. The question is that sustainable, he asked. Let's get generous and let's say we give 8%, 4% plus 4%. That would cost a back pay of 3.6 billion and an additional annual cost of 1.4 billion. Do you see that money in the treasury in Trinidad and Tobago at this time? Do you see the Minister of Finance of Trinidad and Tobago having that? Referring. Now understand what he's saying and see all the calculations. And this one and Rowley, their simple economics, finance and intelligence is simply 1 + 1 = 2. Them don't understand that if you diversify, create different revenue streams, utilize the intellectual capital of your population, move into different areas, and flow in foreign exchange, foreign direct investment, tourism, build up the economy, that the whole equation changes. But not when you have a cabinet of dunces. All they know is 1 + 1 = 2. And they have 10 in the heritage, and so if you only have 1 + 0, you could take 1 out of the heritage and make 1 + 1 = 2. That's all them know. But here Rowley now referring to the war in Ukraine, the Prime Minister said circumstances beyond this country's control brought unusually high oil prices and some improvement in the gas price, resulting in the government receiving a little more money than it budgeted for. It might be approximately 4 billion, which is the increase outside what we budgeted for. So all of a sudden they went in the parliament and lie and say now they were brilliant and they did everything and they are so good. And now when it come now, after they lie in the parliament and in the Senate to tell you, well, we have no money for you, they come to tell you, well, we really stupid and that thing could done any time. That's what you've elected, pathological liars. Having spent 3 billion, said Rowley, of the 4 billion, he said the war in Ukraine is grinding to a halt. It might drag on for a little while, but we don't know. But of the 4.2 billion, we spent 3.1 billion already. Let's say we have 1 billion left for the back pay, 4%, and blah, 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 and one bag of nonsense to tell you, the people. And many of you who elected him, fire burn all you. Money is not for you. It's for him, his cabinet, his friends, and his financiers. Cabinet MPs on 2014 salaries too. So Rowley telling nurses and cleaners and laborers, but my Prime Minister's salary ain't increased since 2014. 40-something thousand, 50-something thousand, but he comparing to workers. Okay. The Prime Minister said just when the government was coming within sight of balancing the budget, in came COVID. What a blatant, abject lie. The government was balancing the budget in January 2020. The deficit was somewhere around 9 billion and growing. They were robbing and running and grabbing out of the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. This man is just open his mouth and lie. Let me hear you all economists test his words. He said that they were about to balance the budget, and then COVID came. Noting that someone claimed that he was afraid of a march by the unions, the Prime Minister said he had no such fear. What I have is confidence in the good sense of the good people of Trinidad and Tobago. That's what he has confidence in. That he could tell you, don't vote for no Indian if he's African. Vote for PNM. Must vote Balize. The Balize cult. Whine your head, have no money, you're broken to teeth, but still vote PNM because we don't like Indian. That's what he's counting on. The good sense. Because if it's sense, if he really understands sense, then he could not be Prime Minister. Because if people voted with good sense, they would not vote for a man to take their laptop, take their sport, take their culture funding, take their grants, take their jobs, take everything, and wean yourself off the government. They would not. Rowley continued. He said one thing he could give an assurance about is that the country has a government in office which is cognizant of the circumstances of the people and was responsible and would provide the best relief that the country could afford. Well, I'll believe that. The Prime Minister Rowley said when his government came into office, it had to borrow money to pay for salary increases, which included $6 billion in back pay, which had been agreed to by the outgoing UNC administration. I want to ask the question, are you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, going to telling the government to do the same thing? Tell me, I'm listening, he asked, to which the crowd shouted, no! So I'm asking you people, because the crowd shouted no, them suffering with Balize disease. So you don't want a government to generate different revenue streams, open back the refinery, negotiate good gas price, get Point Lisas from 30% that Rowley dropped it from 72% down to 30%, get it back up to 90, 80, 90, 100%. Create foreign exchange, foreign direct investment, diversify the economy, and create jobs for you, and also negotiate better wages for you, the workers who work hard, the nurses, the doctors, the policemen, the firemen, everybody, daily paid, contracted workers, everybody. You don't want that? Rowley says you don't. Rowley says you want to suffer, can't go in the grocery and buy food. Cut down your number of meals from 3 a day to 2 a day. Rowley said that's what you want because you want him to be Prime Minister. You want him to see about you. That's what he said. And some PNM in a jersey ball, no. That reminds me of when they said, he said, I will take those laptops that Indian woman is giving you. And the people in St. James say, yes, take my laptop. I don't want it for my child. My child don't need to be bright. I want my child to suffer. I want other children to advance faster than my child. Yeah, Rowley, yeah. Take my laptop from that lady. What that Indian lady giving my child a laptop for? Abusers still in homes. All you go vote for that too? Abusers still in homes. Guardian, Thursday, May 26, 2022. The Jones report, which revealed horrific sexual, physical, and psychological abuse against children at the homes, was laid in Parliament 1 month ago. Since then, there have been concerns and calls for justice for the victims, as well as those highlighted in the SABGA report. The findings unearth rampant physical, psychological, and sexual abuse of children in the Jones report. During yesterday's inquiry, particular focus was placed by Chairman Paul Richards on the gaps at the children's homes. Has there been any move to ensure alleged perpetrators have been removed from these situations? And this is for the TTPS, Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, says Paul Richards. Acting Police Commissioner McDonald Jacob noted that while investigations had been triggered, no alleged perpetrators were separated from any of the facilities highlighted. Let me repeat that. while investigations had been triggered, no alleged perpetrators were separated from any of the facilities highlighted. McDonald Jacob, DCP Dunce continued, the investigative team, they are in the early stages of doing the investigation. And yes, some persons have come forward and given statements, but have not identified persons within these homes that they can recommend to be removed immediately from the homes. That is ongoing. This report was received by Keith Rowley and Ayanna Webster Roy on December 13, 2021. And DCP Dunce, DCP Getty Work by Rowley, selected by Rowley, comes to the Joint Select Committee and says, the children are still in the hands of the rapists, murderers, batterers, and killers. Soak that in your brain there. Soak it in. But what DCP Jacob said, an additional TTPS hotline for the SABGA report. 1997, 25 years ago, yes, Rowley tell him investigate. He create a hotline for the SABGA report. But he'd have children who are constantly being buggered, raped, and beaten, still with the buggerers, rapists, and beaters. But he make a hotline for 1997. And here the Guardian, playing politics with child abuse. The ongoing tit-for-tat between the government and the opposition over two explosive reports on abuse at children's homes in this country is distasteful and a distraction amid a crisis that has affected hundreds of... Really, Guardian? What tit-for-tat? There was a Judith Jones report given December 13, 2021, because Senator David Nackett in March made a stink about two boys who had escaped and were killed from the homes funded by the government. A task force was set up and a report was done. Rowley sat on the report from December 13th till April, and up to now, up to yesterday, nothing has been done to keep and protect the children. Rowley comes and talk about some SABGA report, and you, express media, mass media, start to take the change, take the destruction, and talk about SABGA report, UNC, Basdeo, Pandey, Manohar, Kamla, 1997, all sorts of nonsense. Now you come to ball but tit for tat. Instead of playing politics, says the Guardian, you are playing politics, the mass media is playing politics, because all they should be saying is, Rowley, you are in charge. Why you held the report? Why you delayed from December 13, 2021? Why you didn't take charge? Why the police didn't move in? Why the army didn't move in? Why are the people still there? Why are they not new security? Why are they not CCTV cameras? Why are they not increased lighting facilities? Why are the children not protected? Why are they not under surveillance? What is going on? Why you didn't do that? And all you care about children? No, you care about Rowley. So the Guardian continues. Instead of playing politics with this matter, the people elected to serve this country should direct their energies toward providing support and healing for former and current wards. Former and current wards? Current wards are being raped and buggered and beaten and battered? No! And you talking about help for those back in 1990 in the same breath? Really? And you are not playing politics? Children are being raped? No, no. And look at the nonsense you writing with your 89% increase in profits and Samakal. Disgusting. The insensitivity of those who, untouched by the painful experiences of this young man and other victims, indulge in finger pointing and useless rhetoric. You are talking about, yes, we know that we're interested in those things. But the real critical issue right now is to get those children now into safety now. And you are not talking that, but talking about playing politics. Do you know we in the Westminster system, the opposition has no authority to do anything, to impact anyone, to direct any resources, to buy anything, to keep the children safe. It is Rowley, and Rowley has done nothing. And you are unable to tell Rowley that he is a miscreant, a disgusting human being. You come to play politics with children being buggered and raped and battered and beaten. Guardian newspaper. Some of the children who suffered abuse in the time between Robert Sabga report. You see? Robert Sabga report, okay, interesting. That's good. Investigate everything. But right now, there are children being raped. Right now. Okay? Let me clarify it. Let me rank it for you. This is an issue that is too serious to be treated as fodder on political platforms. The mudslinging diverts attention and delays the interventions that are urgently needed. Rowley is the Prime Minister. What did he do on December 13th when he read the report? Oh, sorry, he didn't even read the report. You talking about mudslinging? Rowley is in charge. He's a Prime Minister in total, complete charge. He is in charge of everything, every cent, every resource, all the resources. He even control the police because he put a toe jam there. But you all coming to talk nonsense, Guardian. And then we had Camille Robinson-Regis. Camille Robinson-Regis on a PNM platform, attacking religion, attacking the Hindu, Muslim religion, attacking Middle Eastern cultures about child marriage or age of marriage, which historically is a religious point, and saying that under Kamala, when Kamala was Prime Minister, X amount of child brides existed and so on. And when you were Minister of Social Development from 2001 to 2010, how many child brides they had? And when the PNM was in charge from 1956 to 1986, how many it had? But you attack religious beliefs. You attack the Hindu faith, Muslim, just like your policies of open fire discrimination against the Hindu faith. Your government attacks Indians. Your government attacks others. And you come there on a platform to belittle people's religious belief. Whether you believe it or not, we are here to tolerate. Every creed and race find an equal place. So what was your point that you're making, Camille Robinson-Regis? Mahatma Gandhi married his wife. She was 14 and he was 13. They were married for 62 years. You have a problem with that? That's their religion, that's their belief. In those times also, they could be married and still live with their parents and so on and not cohabitate. It's religion. You come to attack with your bald head, disgusting, nasty mouth people religion. When children under your watch, Camille Robinson-Regis, what about if it was your children being raped and buggered and beaten? Would you take this blasé, laissez-faire attitude since December 13, 2021? Is that what you would do? Since you are so opposed to child abuse, taking advantage, sexual harassment and so on, Camille Robinson-Regis, how come you remain on that stage in Arima with the PNM? Ain't a man sitting down right there on the stage next to you in 1969 was a teacher in a position of power, put trust, and he abused that trust to have sexual intercourse with a girl of school age and impregnated her? But you're endorsing that? You sitting down right next to Mr. Man. You're saying there's no pedophile ring in the PNM? But that man who you sit down next to, wasn't he great friends and show me your friends, I'll show me who you are? Well, them is not brethrens, them. Them is not buddies, them. Them is not best friends, them. Them is not besties, them. Let me tell you something, Camille Robinson-Regis, watch yourself. Be careful, because they all are wrong. You don't check on the stage, you don't check in the cabinet, you don't check in your parliament on your bench, and you might even check home by you to make sure they don't come in through window, glass door, and they're not wrong by you. So check yourself, lady. Get them off, get them off. Express come to say tragedy of U.S. gun culture. Thanks, Express. Well, we could watch CNN, BBC, Fox, you know. We can hear about that. You say, you have no tragedy about the killing and the murders of Trinidad and Tobago and our children and our gun culture. We're not interested in your take on foreign policy, you know. That's the USA. Let them deal with their thing. It's very sad. Where's our editorial? Express? Where's the tragedy of the Judith Jones report that is still in Rowley's hands since December 13, 2021? And children are being robbed, killed, raped and battered. We have gun violence in Trinidad and Tobago, man getting shot 6 times, 4 in the head and thing for a gold chain. That's what we have. And you writing about the US? Eh? Y'all want a visa? Watch it. Watch it for a gold chain. And you're dead now. I'm going to pull a gold chain off a dead body. You tell me about the US situation. Keith Rowley loses $1 billion. $1 billion of your taxpayers' money. After he and Smallpin lose $233 million and say it's no big thing. And they lost a $240 million and they say it's no big thing, you go make back that. They come now and lose $1 billion of your money. And look at the language the newspapers using. Because Rowley had that arbitration report since April. Figure out some way to come and try to spin it in some way. Come up with something about a clause that was put there so that the project could have kept going and take away the bond because the company was going bankrupt and insolvent in Brazil. But right there in Trinidad, highway building and moving. Rowley said that on the last working day of Kamla Prasad Bises's government, that the People's Partnership government put in a clause to protect the bond, or to say that you could not terminate the contract because of the bankruptcy or insolvency of the mother company way in Brazil. Okay. But look at what the argument is. Rowley loses $1 billion. He terminated the contract, lost. He had to pay. Taxpayers have to pay. But them come to say, former minister, ex-NIDCO boss, all the UNC defending. Defending what? Nothing to defend. Because, let me ask you all this. Keith Rowley said, September 5th, 2015, clause inserted and agreed to by the government of Trinidad and Tobago and the contractor. Rowley becomes prime minister. Rowley read, saw, viewed, understood the contract and the clause. Yet Rowley still went ahead, for whatever reason in his sick mind, to go to not pay, to stop funding, to stop the project, and to terminate the project against the very clause that he knew was there. And now when it has gone through arbitration, Rowley loses because contracts are contracts and contracts are to be respected by responsible people. So the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, in reading a contract, terminated it even though he knew the contract said you cannot do that. And now we have to pay $1 billion and more, and we have no highway yet to Point 14. Still traffic to reach Point 14. I put it to you that Rowley is a total irresponsible idiot, and the media is playing games. It is simple. OAS did work. Rowley did not pay. OAS wanted to continue. Rowley did not pay. Rowley stopped and ended and terminated the contract. OAS said you could not terminate the contract. They went to arbitration. Rowley lost because Rowley is an idiot, incompetent, vindictive, malicious, wicked, and a liar. And that's where we are. You're coming and letting him talk about some clause. But if the clause changed before you read the clause, and you went against the clause and get beaten and the people must pay, and you want to still be Prime Minister and vote for me? Here's Rowley. Tuesday night, Prime Minister Keith Rowley called on the Commissioner of Police to go into NIDCO and find out what authority and under whose authority a clause which protected the country's interests was removed from the $1 billion highway contract. Really? Rowley, I find all of a sudden you giving police commissioner instruction. Go here, do this, do that, investigate this. How a prime minister, the executive, we don't have separation of powers again? Oh yes, we don't, because all the independent senators and all the institutions and Transparency Institute and Kirkwaite and Owehi and all the other groups, they said, yes, Rowley, you can thwart the process. You can interfere, intervene, and misbehave in public office. Remove a merit list and appoint who you want. And he could go and investigate who. Cost climb to $850 million award to OAS. Now, in a 305-page written ruling delivered on April 16th, so since April 16th, Rowley and the government know they lost that, and Munilal only had to find out a whistleblower gave he and bust that recently, right? And in the London Court of International Arbitration, arbitrators John Fellows, Adam Constable QC, and Andrew White QC have ruled against the National Infrastructure Development Company, NIDCO, which terminated the multi-billion-dollar contract. They terminated it on June 16, 2016. So Rowley, if the clause was changed on September 5th, 2015, and you knew that, what you terminate for, what you feel people can't read, they don't exist, contracts. But then here the NIDCO chairman, Herbert George, arbitration bound by confidentiality. National Infrastructure Development Company NIDCO chairman Herbert George said the arbitration with Brazilian construction firm Constructura OAS is ongoing, and therefore neither company could comment on any aspect of the proceedings as they were bound to confidentiality. We are engaged in the arbitral process with OAS and we are bound to confidentiality. The matter is ongoing, so we cannot talk about it, any aspect of the proceedings. NIDCO has no comment to make on the matter. So how Rowley talk? How Rowley and Arima talking? Eh? But when Rowley spoke, well, let me pull back that article, boy, Archie boy. Rowley was talking in Arima, and boy, he said something. Let me be clear now. When he was talking, Rowley said, it's another point, right? Rowley said, and I quote, they are shocked, when he was trying to defend Foster Cummins. He said they are shocked that the Rowley family bought an apartment in Tobago for $1.2 million. And I am now the subject of an Integrity Commission investigation. Maybe I should go too. Let me read that again, what he said, and I quote, they are shocked that the Rowley family bought an apartment in Tobago for $1.2 million. And I am now the subject of an Integrity Commission investigation. Maybe I should go too. So Rowley has just let the cat out the bag. That the Integrity Commission is doing their job. That they are investigating his Form B and his townhouse in Inez Gate in Tobago. Rowley let it slip, and you want to know how I know. I confirm, because I don't come with one source, that he is under investigation. I then read in papers and Express page 18, I see a Ria Tate. And once you see Ria Tate, you see Rowley face black. Rowley, Ria Tate, same thing. Integrity blows for registrar. Commission criticizes its own employees. Total dysfunction, says Ria Tate, reporting on a report of the Integrity Commission, but put in the Express. Despite the clear position of the law, senior officers of the Commission, in assuming the role of independence and autonomy concerning administrative matters, refused to carry out several unanimous decisions of the Commission or took independent decisions without seeking guidance from the Commission, the report said. So when Rowley says, I'm under investigation, and Ria Tate throwing mud all into the Integrity Commission to cast aspersions on the Integrity Commission like Rowley attempted to do 5 months ago when he brought the Integrity Commission into question. Think about it and think very carefully. And Rowley, let me tell you, you're not being investigated because you bought an apartment. Number one is a townhouse in Inez Gate. You're being investigated because you did not put it on your Form B. And failure to fill out your Form B is illegal. Secondly, the value that you put on your Form A for your apartment, as you call it, The stamp duty that you paid was $33,600. That equates to a value of 1.68 million. You signed a declaration on your Form A and put the value of the apartment, townhouse, as 1.2 million. Based on what you paid for stamp duty, that was false information. A false declaration on a Form A is a criminal offense. So you're not being investigated because you buy a thing. And what about your daughter own? And you see, you and your daughter, you said you negotiated well. You are not to be a real estate agent as a prime minister. You are also supposed to declare the discount that you got, not only for yourself, but for your beautiful daughter also. The 500,000 discount you got for her, and the 468,000 personal benefit that you got, that you failed to put on that Form A that you were waving around. You see, Rowley? So should you go to? You should go to jail. Prime Minister, I will not fire Cummins. Who expected you to? Who expected you to fire Cummins? Cummins not even as bad as you, and he rotten to the core. I will not fire Cummins. In a fierce defense of Cummins, Rowley said he spoke with Cummins about both issues and was satisfied that everything was above board based on the evidence the minister provided. So Trinidad and Tobago, Keith Christopher Rowley is Prime Minister. He is in charge of Special Branch. He is the head of the National Security Council. He appoints the Minister of National Security. He is the Commissioner of Police. He is in charge of the FIU. He is in charge of the Anti-Corruption Bureau. And he is in charge of the courts. Because he took evidence from his boy and say everything good. So you all hold that. So never mind Special Branch report, never mind FIU report and a SAR from Venture Credit Union, never mind all of that, never mind the production orders that we don't know what's going on with the court case, with the information, never mind the 4.4 billion, never mind he's a senator and a person in public, politically exposed person, never mind he's a MP and a senator appointed by this clown Rowley, never mind all of that. Keith Rowley saw the evidence, Mr. Landate, Mr. Renaissance, Mr. Greenvale, Mr. Las Alturas, Mr. 1.8 billion in housing projects between 2003 and 2007, Mr. Emailgate, Mr. Delsey-gate, Mr. Bridgman's, Mr. HDC contract with Chinese company when I don't know how it reached cabinet, but I was the minister, Mr. Smallpin, brother man, this man say he read what Foster tell him and he find Foster good. So fire burn Special Branch, fire burn FIU, fire burn Anti-Corruption Bureau, fire burn production orders, fire burn every other system because Rowley say Foster good. Meanwhile, Cummings also lashed out at the allegation saying, who thief more than them? Who thief more than them? Foster? Stay the hell out of P&M business, says Rowley. Rowley say, first it was Al-Rawi, then it was Stuart Young, now it's Foster Cummings. They say Foster should go because he has 3 pieces of land. They are shocked that he was in business handling a couple million of dollars. No, we're not shocked that he's in business, and if he's in business, it's fine. We're shocked that the millions of dollars came from taxpayers' money at MTS, from your girl Jackie Lazarus, and that it was done by a company. We didn't even get into the discussion of how the company won the contracts, the 3 contracts, but how the money that was to be paid to a company ended up being paid to Venture Credit Union, going into the Venture Credit Union account and then finding its way into Foster account. So we're not vexed if he have $1 million or he have 10 million. We want to know about propriety, correctness, commingling of funds, money laundering, and how a contract, if he's not a businessman and he's a minister, how come money from a contract of taxpayers' money reach into your personal account? Rowley said, right, I am now the subject of an Integrity Commission investigation. Maybe I should go too. But I could tell you one thing. When you are accustomed to thieving, anybody that you see with a bag, you feel that them is thief too. Wow. He said nobody in his government was afraid of the police, and that he told his ministers they could make mistakes, or if they are not as ready as they could be, he will have their backs. But on matters of honesty and integrity, if they fall short, they are on their own. So Rowley, you are the judge of honesty and integrity. You a teacher who used your honesty and position to get pum-pum from a girl of school age. You who didn't mind that child. You who ignored and gave the whole population a perception of your inside children alone. You Rowley of Landgate. You Rowley of everything else I said. You of Emailgate. You are talking, you are the judge of the PNM's honesty and integrity. Well, that alone, Foster, put on stripes, yes? The Prime Minister went through the allegations made by the opposition. Really, Express? The opposition didn't make any allegations. It's the police. The police, Express, not the UNC. The UNC is not the police. It's the Special Branch. It's the FIU. It's the Anti-Corruption Bureau. It's Miss Constable Harewood. It's police. It's production orders. They continued. Provided with evidence, and I looked at it. I realized that once again, Kamla Prasad Bisesa is making a horse's rear end of herself, really, Rowley. It's not Kamla. It's the police, Rowley. You feel you own the police because you misbehave in public office? And Rowley saying if ever there was a case for misbehavior in public office, it's putting in a clause in a contract. No, Rowley, if ever there was a case for misbehavior in public office, it's a prime minister losing confidence in a sitting commissioner of police and then writing letters and trying to influence a sitting chairperson of an independent police service commission, then finding out surreptitiously that the merit list was on its way to Parliament because the president shall, section 123.4, pass it to Parliament, and going to president's house, whispering in the sleepy bear's ears and forcing her to breach the constitution and the law to ensure that somebody you lost confidence in did not get a walk. That is misbehavior in public office. If anybody ever saw a clear-cut case, I'm sure law students would love to use that one. He said about Cummins, saying if this is what was that, and if this was other, everything is if. Well, if you don't know, calm down and shut up. He talking about to Kamla. No, tell the special branch, calm down and shut up. Tell the ACIB, calm down and shut up. Tell the FIU, calm down and shut up. Tell the judge that approved the production orders, calm down and shut up. And Rowley, if it's all over, above board and thing and everything good, why you tell Foster just show them now? Show the police what you have, show them all the paperwork. Why you send Keith Scotland and your senior council neighbor in Hiney's Gate, Gilbert Peterson, who's now bunkering oil? Why you send them to fight the production order if everything is above board and you're so honest and clean and you're full of honesty and integrity just like you, Rowley? Row. Why you fighting it? Why you fighting it down? Huh? Cat got your tongue? Or your tongue? No, don't say that now. Anyway, remember the questions for Fuzzy Foster? Fuzzy Foster, as I go, just to remind you, and you could put up the Venture Credit Union people picture and thing too, you know, yes, and to you all there, because an SAR was filled out. Huh? A suspicious activity report. It could only be filled out by someone in Venture Credit Union, which was good on this occasion. But you all are very quiet. So you all need to say something, eh? You all need to say something. But I didn't show all of them, but this is really for Fuzzy Foster. Are you aware that being appointed a government senator is being involved in active politics? On being appointed to the Senate, you became a politically exposed person. Do you know that, Fuzzy Foster? If, as stated in the Express on Monday, 23rd May 2022, that you ceased being a businessman and becoming an MP and a minister. Why are you personally involved in business payments, business loans in January 2021? And Fuzzy Foster, you had much time. Show us the loan documents now. When you applied for the loan, how you applied, who you applied on behalf, what was your asset base, how you qualified for the loan. Show me the paperwork now, man. Loan don't just go, hey, but let me 15 million. It's not $15, you know, it's not 3 doubles. If it was a loan repayment by the company that you are no longer affiliated with to the venture credit union, why would the funds move from venture credit union to account in your personal name? Are you aware that for the FIU to action an investigation by the ACIB or the police, an SAR, a suspicious activity report, would have had to be made by the financial institution to the FIU? If this were a legitimate loan, as you say, why would the financial institution, on receiving legitimate payments, repayments, create an SAR and send to the FIU if they were just receiving their normal payments for their loan? Are you aware that as a politically exposed person, Fuzzy Foster, especially an MP and a full-time minister, that any money other than your government salary finding its way into your account will raise questions, especially $1.8 and $4.41 million? Did you declare these loans on your integrity forms 2019, 2020, 2021 while you were a senator and an MP and a minister? Did you? Because if you're prime minister under investigation by the Integrity Commission, you next. Are you aware of the term tax evasion? If money owed to a company is paid to someone else, how is this accounted for tax purposes? In both cases, for the company and for you, the individual. Are you aware that facilitating tax evasion is a criminal offense, Fuzzy Foster? SARs involve illegal proceeds of crime, drug trafficking, money laundering, and so on. On hearing that the police were investigating you on these matters, did you seek psychological counseling? But you could handle police, but you can't handle the people finding out the truth. Foster, are you a madman? And let me just say, finally, all these questions for Fuzzy Foster, oh good, are running out of time. Now, I don't know if you have an image of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. That's the you don't have it? You go put it up after when I think, man, when you go get that, man. You have time for that. Yes, man, actually, you go find that, pop that, a picture of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. That's a big case. Taking over the whole world. Very interesting. Where Amber Heard say Johnny Depp beats you up, cuffs you up, bat up, but the Johnny Depp lawyer is showing that Amber Heard is a stranger to the truth. Well, the country, our country, Trinidad and Tobago, is like Johnny Depp, and Rowley is Amber Heard. Good night.
Ancestors came from India in 1838. They came to British Guyana, and Jahachis and shipmates. They cross the Calabani, on the Hesperus and with me. Bahut Aja and the Aji, Bahut Nana and Nani. Yes, I'm a Indo-Caribbean man from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, the culture and education. I'm a Indo-Caribbean man from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, hey, the culture and the education, yes. Came down to this land, Indian indentured servants, living a 79 years back, clutching on to the lotus, crying for Mother India, with tears in the eyes and a prayer in the heart. Salam Barat Mata, yes, I'm a Indo-Caribbean man, from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, the culture and the education. I'm a Indo-Caribbean man, from a Indo-Caribbean land. I love my Indo-Caribbean tradition, hey, and all them little children, yes. Well, Look at Hanan and Ram, were the first immigrants to land.